click this link, you're interested to know what's going on in Haiti. What they're going to explain you is the current situation that's going on in Haiti. And I'm also going to explain you some backstory so you can understand why are we here today. So in order to understand why is Haiti in the current economic situation it is in now, you have to go back to Haiti's history. And trust me, guys, I know history is not the most fun thing in the world, but if you understand this backstory, you're going to understand where I'm going with this. Stick with me. Haiti used to be a slave colony named Hispaniola. It's one of the second largest island in the Caribbean. So Haiti had fought for its independence, beating the French, the Spaniards in 1804, and along with the Americans. In 1825, France threatens to invade Haiti unless they pay $35 billion for recognizing Haiti's freedom. And you have to understand this, right, guys? So France is a powerful nation at this point. Haiti was previously a slave colony. For France to consider invading Haiti and bringing upon war for Haiti at that time, they decided to not go to war. Let me tell you this. I want to say this in the beginning. Hollywood will not cover a movie such as this because of the audacity of these African slaves to really fight for freedom. I'm just going to put it out there, guys. I know this video is going to do hits, so I want to put it out there. Hollywood, not even just Hollywood, anyone, any independent filmmaker, you should make this story. If there's any story you're going to tell this one. So let's get into it, guys. So in 1804, Haiti gained its independence. These Africans, right, these African slaves gained their independence by defeating the French, Napoleon at that time, defeating the Spaniards, and defeating the Americans as well on the island of Hispaniola, setting all slaves on that island free, right? And in 1825, France threatens to invade Haiti unless they pay the equivalent of today's day, $35 billion for recognizing Haiti's freedom. So France wasn't going to take the defeat lightly. What they pretty much wanted was reparations. They wanted reparations for losing the land that they felt that they acquired from the Taino Indians. Regardless, they wanted to have Haiti pay off their debt or wage war on that island. At the time, too, Haiti was producing 3/4 of the world's coffee. French was a thriving colony, and this is when, at the because of France's loss to the slaves, they actually had to give up parts that they owned in the Northern America. They had to give up that territory, and I believe that's called the Louisiana Purchase. And France gave up all their rights to that land to now the United States. In 1825, USA and the international community refuses to trade with Haiti unless they pay France. You see these tactics, guys? USA and all the rest of the international countries decided that they weren't going to recognize Haiti and they weren't going to trade with Haiti unless they pay off this debt to France. Bullies, guys. And I'm a born American. I'm a patriot. I'm going to say that. But you have to call a spade, right? United States stood with its allies and aided in putting this country into debt. In 1838, Haiti accepts to pay its bullies $21 billion in today's money. In 1911, U.S. funds the acquisition of Haiti's treasury. In 1915, President Villebon Jolum is violently assassinated. In 1915, U.S. invades Haiti and takes possession of their gold reserve. 1920, 3,000 peasants are gunned down by U.S. Marines. 1922, National City Bank, which is today's Citibank, takes over the Banque Nationale of Haiti. 1947, Haiti makes final payment of the 122 years debt to Citibank. The debt of $21 billion to France was partially financed by the USA. 2006, Haiti stops buying U.S. Saudi oil and enters Venezuelan Petro-Caribbean program for oil. 2018, Haiti's push out of the Petro-Carib and the U.S. Novum Energy Corp takes over oil exports to Haiti after higher rates. 2021, President Moise Jovenel is assassinated. That's right. There seems to be a pattern here. There definitely seems to be a pattern of the United States interfering in this country's success by taking over the country's national bank and as well taking Haiti's gold reserve. Who knows where the country would be today? And I record this video from the United States, obviously, but as a patriot, I do have to question some of the tactics of our nation and even our past tactics, because it's not conducive to the long-term success of our nation. We seem to not agree with immigration, right? Like, we're not all there when it comes to immigration and people wanting to come to this country. They want to come to this country because the country in which they came from, the United States has their prints all over it. And I just want to say, in North America, we are one of the most powerful nations in the world. But we have allies as well. We have France, and we work closely with our international partners. But we also have to think on the overall success of these other nations as well. So guys, that's background on what's going on currently in Haiti. So now, where we're at currently, the investigation has gone awry, right? It's going in many different directions. The Haitian government and national police and the army as well have arrested about 17 mercenaries, right? And through their investigation, they found that these mercenaries are from Colombia. And the Colombian government has already came out and said that, they did not, this isn't their doing at all. Although these are ex-Marines of theirs and ex-military of theirs, but they do denounce having involvement with this sort of assassination. The United States of America had made a statement during the week and said that they were aid Haiti in the investigation. Okay. So the United States went out there. An investigation is currently being had on the assassination of the president and who is directly behind this. The links then point to Floridian man from the United States and also Haitian American, Christian Emmanuel Sanoun from Florida. Okay. And I did a little backstory on this man. This man has some sort of political ties in Haiti. There was a YouTube video showing him talking down against corruption in Haiti. And he seems to also have known the president in a somewhat way. I looked up this man, and I'm not going to say I know indefinitely he was a friend for the president, but it didn't look like at the time and how closely he was to the president in these pictures that he was an enemy. So guys, I'm not saying at all that this man couldn't have been an enemy of the president, and they're not entirely ruling him out. But what I question is the validity of it. Why exactly would this man plot to assassinate the president, right? Like, what does he gain in this? I'm just thinking financially, this must have been pretty costly, guys. I told you there were 17 mercenaries, 17. They all flew out to the Dominican Republic. They vacationed, they had a good time. So it seemed like they were pretty well financed. And just the coordination of it, this man would have to have been, he had to have had, if Christian Emmanuel Sanson was the man who had committed this crime, he would have to worked with a larger network. I would assume he had help. I mean, are you doing this all day? Do you even have that sort of financial backing, or like the hours of the day you would have to be coordinate this? This would have took months in the head to plan if he was doing it all himself. But financially, I wanted to know, who was this man? I Googled him, and it said that in 2013 he had filed for bankruptcy. He lost his home, it seems. And, they said the man makes around $60,000. And I don't know how true this is, but there wasn't a lengthy history on this man's abundance of wealth, right? It just wasn't there. So I question, why did the investigation even go in his direction? He didn't seem capable, from the research I've done, in being able to plot such an execution, right? Such a gruesome act. Because what does he have to gain? What does he have to gain? He has everything to lose. It's not like the mercenaries got away. This isn't, they didn't get away at all. They all got caught. And he is in no position of power. But that's what they want to give to us, and that's what they're telling us, right? Is that he wanted in hopes to become prime minister himself or the president in order to take on the role. Okay. I don't think they bought that one, right? I don't think they bought that this is the guy. We have to give them someone they'll buy. Whoever's behind this, because the way this investigation is going, I feel like it's being pointed in directions in which it doesn't make sense. So, and to add on top of it, and when they arrested this man, and they raided his home, they said they found a DEA hat. Right? Convenient. They found a DA hat, and if you don't know, the mercenaries, they said they presented themselves as DEA before entering Jovenel Moise's estate. They said they were DEA, so they conveniently found a DEA hat. Fine. And they also said they found ammunition and guns in his house. Right. I'm like, so this man who thought of such an execution and attention to detail and he worked the logistics to get these mercenaries together. He also must have just forgot to put away the DEA hat and the ammunition. So now, currently where we're at, they're accusing Haiti's current prime minister as the main suspect in the assassination attempt. I'm going to go ahead and go on the record and say that I believe to be is cap. I'm going to say that I don't believe that to be true, and I'll tell you the reason. I'll tell you my reason and why, but first I want to read this statement. And this is from Fox News. Authorities in Haiti on Thursday forcibly pushed back against reports that current government officials were involved in the killing of Haitian President Jovenel Moise, calling them a lie. Leon Charles, head of Haiti's national police, denied a report from the Caracol News, a Colombian-based private TV station, that claimed interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph was the mastermind of the July 7th killing and assassination of Jovenel Moise. The police warns of all propaganda creating a diversion, he said, adding that the government has no evidence to support those claims. So I'll stop there, guys. I don't know who's truly behind this, and I'm not going to make any claims. But what I do see is that they are trying their best to pin this heinous crime on anybody they could, right? But the right person. And I say to myself, follow the money, and you'll see, where the rabbit holes goes. You truly have to follow the funds here. There needs to be an international investigation, and because it is important, right? A president of democracy was assassinated, right? And the United States had stood behind him when they believed in his fifth term, right? And there's a statements that said that they believe Jovenel Moise should stay for his fifth term, and they supported that. But this heinous crime isn't being taken in the best regard as it should. But we know in North America who calls the shots here. The United States does. Anything that happens and that's taking place in the North and Central and South America, the United States has a preference. I don't believe any foreign nation can look to invade or put foothold without the United States being in knowing. And we've seen an example of that. Cuba's relationship with Russia. The country has never been the same again because they had chose alliance with one of America's enemies. An embargo was imposed on those people. So I tell you that I see this. The United States does have strong foothold, not only around the world, but strongly in the western part of the hemisphere. And I don't believe this investigation is getting the proper due diligence it should have, right? In the name of democracy, I think more should be done. I'm going to go ahead and sit on the record and say I don't think more is being done because I think that we know who the assassins may be, right? And we turned a blind eye to it, but I'm telling you guys, for someone or a group of people to figure out logistics for all 17 or 20 mercenaries, a translator, housing, voyage to the country, right? Transportation needs as well too, ammunition, vests, walkies, gear. Seems to be a lot to finance, right? Seems to be a lot to finance, guys. I'm going to continuously watch this investigation as it goes along, but I want to tell you is that this is extremely interesting, and I'm surprised the world powers that be, right, the G7, these diplomatic countries, aren't taking the assassination of Haiti as serious as they should, and just say it's not their responsibility and their job. Right, just say it's not the United States' responsibility to interfere in other countries' affairs. I understand that, but the United States found plenty of reasons to have interfered in the past. Right, there was an issue there in the past when they were taking, but now when a country needs assistance, it's no help truly there. I don't at all think that the Haitian current prime minister is behind this. Don't at all think so. Okay. I think who's truly behind this is someone who has always been around, right? We talk a lot about Haiti's government and its instability, but I also want to talk about the corruption that goes on in that nation. Haiti is truly a rich nation. The way the flag was designed, and if you guys ever seen an image of the flag, there is gold painted on the flag purposefully, right? This was a very rich nation at the time. You should Google Haiti's crown, because at one point Haiti had a kingdom. I'll put the crown up so you can see it. There was plenty of gold. If they made this crown here, Haiti was a very wealthy nation, but currently now there's a lot of greed. And I see if you follow the money, you'll know exactly the corporates and some of the elitists that live in Haiti that do business with the international powers that be, crippling and keeping the people within that country impoverished, right? On the backs of these Africans. This type of a calculated assassination took clearance. I feel so, at least. It definitely took clearance and it's weird too. Like a lot of the things that happened, his security happened not to be there, guys. Jovenel's security happened not to at least come on the job or to let these mercenaries in. It was all just, he has private detailed security. How do you go in and execute a president? Thank you for spending time with me. I'm glad you had the opportunity to learn the background story and what has happened in Haiti, the international powers that be, affiliation with Haiti's plight. And we also got to discuss that I don't think the prime minister is behind this or this doctor in Florida. I think they need to continue their investigation, and the international powers should look into why a Democratic president was assassinated, right? So we're going to continue to look at this, guys. Like my YouTube video. If you like this video, let me know. Share, like, subscribe, comment. What I want to say is that I'm only going to bring the facts. I'm speaking from the perspective of the diaspora. Have a great day, guys. Great evening. Good morning. However, I'll see you. Peace. Love.